Hey everybody, and welcome along to this week's edition of the Irish Golfer Podcast. Peter Finnan here, and joined as always by Leona Maguire.
How are we getting on?
All good, all good.
Good stuff.
Enjoying this fine stretch of pissy weather we've had over the last few weeks.
Yeah, plenty of windburn for me over the last few days, so I'm going to stay inside from now on till the sun comes back out. I think I'll be safer.
It's crazy how much has changed, isn't it? Like we've gone from like Sahara desert stuff and everything drying out. It's a greenkeeper's absolute dream. Bit of heat, load of rain, everything's growing like mad. No conditions, no excuses for courses up and down the country not to be in unbelievable condition.
Yeah, courses now are completely just pure and lush and everything. Like we were at Port Rush last week.
It was savage.
Perfect.
It was savage,
perfect.
wasn't it?
Like,
have to give them a shout out. Actually, we went up there last week. They looked after us really well. We played the Dunluce and we played the Valley. The Valley was spectacular.
the Valley as a first time golf course is definitely up there in terms of like just the impression that it made on me, the conditioning, just the course design as well. It was unbelievable. Yeah,
no, they've done some serious work, and it's going to be a lot more attainable. I know every time we talk about these top table golf courses, price is always it costs a fortune to play, but I think the Valley is going to be a little bit more reachable for your average Joe Soaps to actually go up and experience something good like that. It's more of a but yeah, you will not get a better product at the price they're going to roll it out at in the country, in my opinion. But yeah, there'll be plenty more of that in rankings, I suppose. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of the podcast, this podcast, as you know, is brought to you in association with Flowgas. So yeah, if you are looking for either gas, electricity, solar for either personal or business needs, visit flowgas.ie. Like we said, it's not just gas. They are a gas bunch of lads, and they are given the old Emerald Park thing has rolled out over the last few weeks as well. So if you're tuning into your TV at all on any of the Irish channels, you're seeing those campaigns. So they are giving 2 Emerald Park tickets free to anyone who signs up for a new plan, or indeed if you're up for renewal on your plans with them, they'll do the same. So they are looking after existing customers as well as new, which kind of differentiates them a little bit from most other players in the market that tend to give you 12 months and you get out the door and get somewhere else. So Flowgas are sponsoring from top to bottom some of our elite amateurs and right up to our touring professionals as they start off on their tour careers as well. So they're supporting grassroots golf right up to our touring professionals. So do support them. They support golf. Visit flowgas.ie, and like we said, gas, electricity or solar.
I'm really disappointed with that. I thought when you were talking about the weather, you were getting ready for like this big segue into Flowgas.
So did I, yeah. I've missed a trick there. I've missed a trick, but yeah. We'll park it at that. Flowgas.ie. Right, where do we get started this week? Do we want to PGA Tour, a little dip into that, and then get stuck into the US Women's Open? And
yeah, the unmemorial memorial. It was honestly, when Scottie Scheffler gets in contention, it's absolutely tripe.
It's everyone else's
it's
memorial.
Just like, I don't know, like once he birdied, I think 3 of the last 4 on the Saturday, and Ben Griffin had bogeyed the last. You didn't even need to watch the Sunday. You just knew he was going to win.
Yeah, and even Jack Nicklaus said it himself. We'll get into Jack, a few of his comments. He was quite outspoken this week. But he spoke like a man that doesn't give a shit. The way he explained it, it was like, even Scotty knows, like a Ben Griffin, guys that were coming up there, they're just not in his league.
He's right.
He's bang on.
Because like Ben Griffin was trying to talk with Nick Taylor all the time and was giving him fist bumps when he held that shot on 14 on Saturday. And you're just thinking, if he's in the final group with Scheffler, he's not even going to get 5 words out of him. He'll get a hello on the first tee and play well, and that's it.
And unlucky on the
18th. Unlucky, yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Thanks for the game.
Yeah, you played well. Thanks for the game. I just got in here to get another $4.5 million.
Yeah.
But there's a lot, like there's so much at stake in these events. The thing that impresses me most about it, I know we'll go back at the end of the year and we'll talk about, I did not have Scottie Scheffler down doing what he's doing probably better than he did last year, this year. Like he's ticked off a major. He's the resounding favourite going into Oakmont next week. Like he's streets ahead of everybody. He is streets ahead of everybody, and he's playing so much golf. He's played his way into this form. He is playing every week nearly. He's not missing weeks. I'm sure he's in the field this week.
Three wins in his last 4 starts.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he was doing last year.
And he's peaking coming into that 2-month stretch of majors as well. Like,
whereas last year he'd almost peaked sort of at the Masters, and he didn't quite have that summer stretch that I think he's probably going to have now. I mean, like, he's comfortably the best player in the world. Like, it's almost as if Rory winning the Grand Slam kind of lit a fire under him.
If I've had this debate with a few people now, like, him at the height of his powers, which he is now, against Rory playing his best golf, it's the first time in my life I would actually say Scheffler's better.
Well,
at the peak.
Scheffler, apparently at the moment, according to Data Golf, this is Scheffler's peak.
That's what I mean.
And that puts him as the second best golfer of all time. And McIlroy's not even in the top 10. Do you see these rankings?
No.
So Tiger Woods is obviously
they sound
number
bullshit
one
to me already if they don't have Rory in the top 10.
So they take which golfers like at their best over the last 3 decades. So they take into account like the quality of their best stretches of golf. So Woods is obviously September 11th, 2000. And he's number 1. Then it's Scheffler on this current stretch of form. VJ, David Duval, Ernie Els, John Ram, Jordan Spieth, Schauffele and Jason Day. They get the top 9. They don't actually have 10th listed. So it could be McIlroy. But it just shows you, like, he's playing. He's the most close thing we've seen to Tiger Woods, and the stats are starting to back that up. So I didn't believe it 12 to 18 months ago. I didn't really buy into it.
Neither did I. Even though everything was pointing towards this lad, but he's here. He's dominating. Like, he's not going away. And I've actually grown. Like, if I was to listen back to me talking on Scottie Scheffler a year ago, I just didn't warm to him at all. But he's becoming a bit more relatable to people. Like, things have gone wrong that don't, but I like the way he just puts fields to the sword now. I actually like watching him do it. I like the way he's so unconventional in his swing, the way he's getting stuff done. He's been messing around with his equipment as well as them all. Like, I've seen, we published a piece out on the website during the week, like, he's tying with 7 woods in the bag and stuff like that as well, in, out. But he's so set in his ways. He's not afraid to, like, things you wouldn't expect from top player. Like, yeah, he's messing around with his equipment a little bit, but there's rhyme and reason to it. Like, 7 wood goes in the bag, driving iron comes out. He has this Shrixon sort of 2 iron in his bag that he's kind of flexing between that and a QI 35 7 wood. He's never going to change from his Titleist golf ball. He's using SM8 wedges from Titleist. He obviously has his full TaylorMade deal down with driver, but all his QI 10 stuff that he's using in the driver, this dot driver, still hasn't transitioned in. He's just so comfortable in his gear, the way his setup is. His caddy situation, like, I love following him. You gave me a bit of advice about 2 months ago. Follow Ted.
Oh, brilliant.
He's unbelievable. He did this dance last week. I'm not sure if you've seen it. In the Memorial locker room, he got all the guys that were helping to come in. They're like sipping drinks into the corner of the thing. They're going around with flags, and then Ted Scott doing this little break dance across with Scottie Scheffler's bag. It's funny. If you don't follow Ted Scott, do. It lets you in. You can ignore the sort of Sunday sermon things that he does. Ignore the Bible bashing, but everything else is really, really good. The stuff around the golf course. But yeah, Scottie, it's phenomenal. Like, we're very lucky. I didn't think we would in our lifetime see somebody as dominant over such a long period of time as Tiger Woods was. But Scottie Scheffler is doing that at present. And like, if he wins at Oakmont next week, which all stats point to he will, then he has a chance to do the Grand Slam on Irish soil.
Yeah, wow, that would really, I think that would actually add to the Open occasion. Absolutely. Because it is all going to be like Rory Mania, Shane coming back, hopefully GMAC can play there as well, and obviously a little thing about Darren. But then you've got Scheffler. You know, you could be there to witness a bit of history as well. It
would be absolutely class as another storyline into it. So yeah, we'll get stuck into Oakmont early next week on sort of a preview pod on that, when we have players starting to talk about it, but they're in full RBC Canadian mode this week, including Rory McIlroy, who gave the Memorial a bit of a swerve.
Yeah, that was, I don't know, it's been a weird few weeks for Rory, just in terms of like his sort of just awkwardness, I suppose, around tournaments and around the media. And he's going to speak this week up in Canada. But I don't know, like, no problem withdrawing from events and everything, but like to, you know, not tell Jack Nicklaus that he wasn't playing his tournament. I don't know, there's something going on there.
Yeah.
And I don't think Jack would have actually brought it up and said how surprised he was if there wasn't maybe something behind the scenes there. Because he's been in the field every year since 2017. And this is the third signature event he's skipped this year.
I understand why he's not played.
I understand why, yeah, just schedule-wise and everything, yeah, which is absolutely fine.
Perfect, but let the man know he deserves. Like, I wouldn't be Jack Nicklaus' biggest fan at the end of the day, but he deserves, especially when Nicklaus has come out and said, you know, we spoke for like 2 hours on the phone after he did the Grand Slam and spoke about all these things. Now, Rory probably wouldn't have known. He definitely wouldn't have known then he wasn't going to play Memorial. He probably had it in his head. I think Rory, the fallout from the PGA, I think that really pissed him off on the equipment side of things. He was the only one that was named, and apparently 10 players had their drivers taken off them that week, but Rory's the only one that leaked, and he just didn't want to be a spokesperson coming out one way or the other in or against equipment, and all the questions that was rearing about when the last time he was checked, and you know, people calling into question the validity of his Masters win and stuff like that. Was it done with illegal equipment and all total crap? But like, yeah, I can understand why he was peeved off with all that, but yeah, just give Jack a call. Just, there's something not right there.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, he's skipping 3 events, whereas maybe last year, 18 months ago, he'd have been fined. Remember, he was fined for that skipping 1. But yeah, it's like, considering like he advocated a lot for those signature events,
yeah,
he's after skipping 3. Now, all actually fairly understandable, to be fair, given the circumstances with each. But it'll be interesting to see what he says this week, because just because he's doing a press conference doesn't necessarily mean he's going to answer those questions, because he's done it before, where he's just said, I'm just here to focus on my golf, or, you know, I'm just here to play golf. So he might say that again to the obvious questions that we expect him to be asked.
No, it's the one thing it stands out. You look at all the announcements we're getting, like, he is committing to a very global schedule from here on out. Exactly what he said he'd do. Now, I know we're calling him out for speaking on both sides of his mouth about the signature events and everyone should play and we need everyone to get back together. He is kind of distancing himself from that a little bit more, and now he's committed to playing in India. He's committed Australia. To playing in Abu Dhabi. He's committed to playing Australia.
And that's before, like, he does his usual kind of European run.
That's it, the Scottish Open, the Irish Open, Wentworth. So he's definitely distancing himself from the PGA Tour once the FedEx Cup is done. They mightn't see him until, like, he never plays in the Tournament of Champions. He just doesn't go to Hawaii. So, like, they mightn't see him till a couple of weeks before, you know, a month before the Masters next year, when the FedEx Cup is wrapped up the way things are going. So yeah, like, I do like that element, because it's one area that he is the only one properly pushing for a world tour, and he's actually putting his money where his mouth is and backing these global tournaments. Yeah,
so he's leading by example in many respects, and I think I agree with him. The world tour, I'd like to see that happen. I think you could build it around your national opens, have maybe, I don't know, between 6 and 8 national opens scattered around the year, where everybody comes and plays. So you're not just having all the best players in the world at majors. You're going to get them, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 times a year, which will be more than enough, because that's what you were getting before the PGA Tour and Live Split anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you were getting them 12, 15 times a year altogether. So that would definitely go some distance to maybe healing things at the moment, I think, anyway.
No, you're right, yeah. Did you see on the... I know I just commented on the equipment stuff there a minute ago, on the testing and stuff like that. See Lucas Glover's comments last week?
About players handing in fake drivers. Yeah.
That's frightening.
It is,
these players...
And do you know what? You believe him.
Yeah, no, 100%. So these players, we called out, for anyone that wasn't listening, like 2 weeks ago, USGA came in at the PGA Championship, tested a load of drivers. Apparently it's been done at every PGA Tour event anyway, but it's all cloaked in secrecy. Like, it's all a bit behind closed doors. They don't release any of the results normally until someone like Rory gets his driver taken away. That happens. But Lucas Glover came out and basically said, sure, when the USGA come to test clubs, sure, the guys have backup drivers and they're just giving them their backup drivers and not giving them their actual gamers. That's so bad.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
If that's ever proven, that is absolutely catastrophic for players that are caught. How are you to govern against that? You can't.
You can't really. But
unless there's like stickers that they're putting onto lads' golf club, like conform, like it's going the line of Formula One with tyres, that they have to be kept a certain way, and like golf equipment for the USGA and RNA to actually have overriding powers, they have to be like is it the FIA in
Formula One?
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, so but whatever way them lads do tyres, engines, weights, all of that stuff, like they're all actually calibrated that way. So yeah, it's it just boils back again until these lads are contracted and actually have like someone to report to, be that the PGA Tour, who then report into, so they're employees of the PGA Tour who then report into, from an equipment wise, oversight the RNA and the USGA. Until that actually happens, these lads will get away with murder.
They already do.
Yeah, no, I know.
What I love though
sad.
is that whenever there's an issue, Lucas Glover always has something to say though.
Yeah,
it's like Sirius XM have him on speed dial.
Yeah. I've never really been a fan of Lucas Glover, but when he opens his mouth now, you listen.
He gives good stuff.
He does give good. He's not afraid to shoot from the hip.
There's the classic sort of like tour veteran who knows everything that goes on kind of vibe about him.
Yeah. Chip in a show, ultimate chip in a
show. Yeah, he does, doesn't he? He's never happy with things.
No, he's funny. We mentioned Jack Nicklaus as well on the thing. See his comment, like he was speaking about everything this week because they'd no Rory McIlroy or Tiger Woods, the media, so they wheeled Jack out at every opportunity possible, and he called out the on-course interviews, which I actually liked.
Yeah.
And said, like, if any of you would have tried to do this with Ben Hogan, he'd punch the face off you, rearrange your teeth.
So I remember McIlroy did one at the Masters a couple of years ago, and I lost my head. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he ended up bogeying that hole off a poor shot in.
Yeah.
But I don't see too many of the on-course interviews anymore, certainly on Sky.
Yeah, we get cut out if you're a dodgy box aficionado, like some people I know might be. Not me. But if you want to go that way of illegally streaming your golf on the Golf Channel to get stuff that Sky don't show, yeah, it's a good way about going about it. But you do realise what we're served up with Sky is like top class compared to some of the US coverage, because you hear a lot of the US or the UK podcasts going on about ads, and it's more like, you know, I read Jeff Shackelford a lot on his quadrilateral email and stuff like that he sends out around majors, and he basically said, like, you know, what they're served up most times is closer to QVC than it is Golf Channel. Like, it's just ads, infomercials, ads, sponsorship banners popping across and then popping out in the middle of things. But no, it was it was good.
What do you make of the walk and talk things, considering we did one very, very recently up at Sea Point?
Yeah, I like them when they're done in that sense, but it depends in context of when they're done. I think Jack called it out because Griffin was in contention in the tournament and he was facing a really tough shot, and he talks for 3 or 4 minutes on his way walking up, takes his mind off it, gets in, and then made a bit of a hames of the shot. And Jack was just saying, like, in my day, a reporter would be told. A little bit of it is the disconnect of what the media actually do now to compare to what they did back then. Like, the way the media is perceived now, I think, by players is a little bit different. Like, back then, they would have been more friends of the players. Back in sort of Nicholas Hogan, those days, reporters were held up on a bit of a pedestal like they are at Augusta every year, you know, so the way it's more of an art, whereas with current players, media are just a pain in the hole. They totally are a pain in the hole. Like, they just don't want to engage, they don't want to talk, and when they do, it's normally crap you're peddled anyway. Just for a certain narrative, or everything is scripted to an inch of his life, you know, so I don't know. Jack is just being very honest around things like that. But
yeah, it's just another initiative that they nabbed off the DP World Tour anyway.
100%,
so like,
actually,
the DP World Tour do that well. They'll pick someone who maybe has just completed their front 9 or is 5 holes in, maybe could be level par 1 under. You're going to get something decent often because you're not getting them in the heated battle.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be someone in contention. It can be a story
around
anything. A story around anything, you know. So, no, that's good. Yeah, anything else to hit on the Memorial? Shane Lowry, we have to talk a bit about Shane Lowry.
Yeah, well, all you can say is he was third in strokes gained approach to green for the week and led that category in 2 of the 4 rounds and still came 23rd. Just honestly, just could not hold a putt.
He had about 700 putts for the week, yeah. It was people question, like, you look at him now, sometimes talking on Shane, I need to be careful because I get pulled up on a lot of these things with people listening and giving it. But yeah, he looks awkward over certain putts. He's pushing a lot of putts.
Yeah, up and out of them.
Up and out of them really quick.
Mentioned on commentary, yeah.
Yeah, no, there doesn't seem to be any... There's no pop to his stroke.
No.
Like, a lot of the putts that I've seen him miss are missing because he's not hitting them hard enough. And I don't know, he's tentative about the ones back. He's missed a lot of 3-4 footers this year. It's in his head. God bless the man that asks him about his putting. He'll get both barrels shot straight in the face. But yeah, it's worrying. It's worrying because Shane will be one of my favourites going into Oakmont next week, based on his history and the severity of the test. Like, we're looking at early stuff coming out from Oakmont already. This looks to be the ultimate test, and it's the one thing. We'll get into the US Women's Open now in a minute in Erin Hills, but it's the one thing that I really liked about watching Erin Hills was the USGA setup got my juices going for what's ahead next week, because it's going to be that on steroids.
Yeah, I've already seen the famous pictures and videos of the rough already, where people drop a ball in from an angle where the ball will never go into the rough anyway.
Yeah.
But no, like Shane, again, I've said it for a while, outside of McIlroy and Scheffler, he's playing as good as golf as anybody.
Until he gets to the green.
And he did so again, especially on the Saturday. I mean, like, he just... and the irony of all ironies, he left himself a 7-inch birdie putt on the 18, so leaving himself a putt he just couldn't miss. But no, like, I don't know what he's going to do about the putting, because everything else is there. Again, you'd have him as one of the favourites for Oakmont, because tee to green, he'd be thereabouts. I mean,
that's the test. Like,
this week was a great pre-US Open test in terms of the setup, because it always is. It's so punishing if you miss the fairway or miss the green. He was tied 10th in driving accuracy for the week. You take that to Oakmont, you're going to be in business.
He is going to be in business in Oakmont, but it just worries me on the green. The only thing that will... Not the only thing that will stand in his favour, but I do think the test in Oakmont is tee to green. When you're you're not going to be racing stuff at the hole at this golf tournament on those Oakmont greens, you know. So an okay putting week will still get him thereabouts if he clicks any of the days. Like, it's just all about those like 5 to 10 footers. He just needs to hold more of those. His lag putting isn't too bad. It's just
lag putting's fine.
Yeah. It's just those. It's just pulling the trigger, finishing it off. He goes missing some days, but yeah, he will be up thereabouts next week. Up at my man Harris English. Been calling him all year. It's coming into his time to shine.
It is, yeah. And sure, wasn't he tied second at the PGA very recently?
He's the man.
Hope the bookies didn't cop onto that one.
They have. He's down a little bit, but that's not because of me. But yeah, no, I think that's it from Memorial. Before we get stuck into the women's stuff on the women's PGA, we did have US Open qualifiers on Monday, so the day after Memorial. We had 5 Irish players teaming up. All 5 missed out, so we had Harrington actually came close, GMAC came close.
Yeah, they both, like, in fairness, they gave it a good rattle, the pair of them, especially Harrington on that
only a
second
shot
round. Like, to shoot, I think what 66 second round, 74-66, and to miss out by a playoff by a shot. It would have been unreal if he qualified. Like, I was watching the leaderboard. I'm sure you could have got it on the Dodgy Box on the Golf Channel.
Wait, no, I need to. A friend of mine was watching it on the Dodgy Box. A lad I know was watching on the dodgy box. But yeah, no, it was good coverage. It was really, it's just a full day of golf, and they've so many storylines. This again highlights coverage of golf and how it could be done so much better on a Friday. To me, days like that highlighted, there's so much consequence at stake. It's like everyone trying to make a cut. And I don't know why they don't do this cut watch stuff.
We've said it so many times here. Watching someone grind to make the cut is
far
so
more
enjoyable. Yeah, like Matsuyama on Friday. Fair enough, wasn't a major, but still, there he's grinding over this 6-footer on the last.
Yeah.
And what's the to him if you miss it? It's nothing.
Yeah,
but it's great, and you watch the lads grind away in majors to make cuts. Like, it's as exciting as anything.
And the US Open qualifier had that all day with lads. Just everything was consequence. One lad I did feel sorry for, actually, and missed out by a shot as well, was Poulter's.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, so did I.
Very, very good. Run. He gave it socks, like, and he does have to be. There's a lad that, like, has been given so much abuse online over the last number of years. You're just getting into this because your daddy's this, or you're just getting in there. And
he's good.
Yeah, a lot of it is. He is a proper
he's a
player.
Proper player, yeah.
And he's starting to win stuff at collegiate level. He's getting noticed. He came within like a hair of making this US Open. He is definitely one to watch. He's really, really good. Compared to, someone that has blown up. Like, you look at, like, Gordon Sargent blew up at this.
Gordon Sargent's not had a good year.
Neil Shipley.
Yeah.
Guys like that.
Oakmont member and all.
Yeah, but guys like that had a lot of momentum coming in. Then you have Poulter's young lad coming in, just, run to the pack job and just getting a job done. Like, he really is a chip off the old block.
Yeah.
And
like Gordon Sargent hasn't had a top 10 since last year's Palmer Cup. Like, you look at Poulter's, keep thinking talk about Ian when I say Poulter, but Luke is steadily on the rise up to 77, which is obviously, like, compared to
Luke the Nuke,
compared to like GB&I Wagger rankings, like 77 is pretty high.
Yeah.
Given the standard, and like, he's had a win, 6th place and a 4th place in the last couple of months as well. No,
he's definitely one to watch. But yeah, we had others. So we've talked Harrington, GMAC. Who else we have? Seamus Power missed out by a good bit. Tom McKibben
missed out by 5 shots.
And Sean Keeling.
Patrick Keeling.
Patrick Keeling,
yeah. Patrick Keeling was just way down the field there somewhere.
Yeah.
But like, there was a lot, like, Cameron Young fairly dug it out in the end. And like, the great thing about the US Open qualifier, and then of course the Open qualifying, which we'll see next month, is the amount of big names you get at this. Like, these are things that are actually kind of worth going out to see. Especially
since the live divide and stuff like that as well, with players that this is their last throw of the dice of getting in. Like, I did see a thing, and some of them are getting abuse online and some of them aren't. Like, 15 live golfers entered qualifying.
Yeah.
5 didn't even bother their arses showing up.
Yeah, and then 5 didn't, I think, withdrew after the first round.
Yeah.
But everyone withdraws after the first round when they're not in the mix. So there's no
36 holes, you shoot 76. Yeah, what's the point?
What is the point?
You're just wasting energy. But it was not too many of them progressed on. But yeah, no, I enjoyed US Open qualifying. It's good. It's a pity one of the lads didn't make it. I thought McKibben would seal something. He'll be disappointed not to be in this field.
Yeah, considering he's a bit of a knack for the qualifying as well. And his major record's been pretty good, like 3 majors, 3 cuts. I think that Oakmont would have suited him as well. He's a really straight player from tee to green too, and he seems to like those tough tests. Yeah. So look, hopefully he dusts himself down and get ready for the Open next month. Yeah, exactly. Right, getting stuck back into US Women's Open. We obviously had a USGA. It was a bit of a snore fest for me. I don't know. Did you watch any of this? I'm always afraid of asking you because you say no. I did watch a good bit of this. It's just nice late viewing television. I thought it was pretty good. Like, Maya Stark is a good winner. Kind of came from nowhere. European Solheim Cup player. Nelly Corda, I think, as well, answered a lot of questions in terms of, like, her USGA record. Yeah, like, it was kind of labelled at her that she doesn't play tough golf courses very well. Like, she had a similar US Open record to Leona Maguire, who's only had 1 top 10 there. So to get a runner-up finish, she'll be disappointed with her own finish in the final day in terms of how she ended the round. But, like, to come second, I think ticked a lot of boxes going forward for her. The golf course itself, I was very sort of sceptical because 2017 is still in my mind. I think that's the worst US Open of all time.
I don't know. In living memory, you're forgetting now. They nearly they were close to putting Chambers Bay.
Yeah, that was the best one. That was unbelievable. I love that.
They're really shy of putting fucking clowns onto the 18th green with windmills.
And Shinnecock Hills was great as well.
Shinnecock's good. Shinnecock's history, steeped in history, proper golf course.
No, I don't want your US Opens with your 16 and 1700 pars winning.
No,
I have no interest.
No, neither do I. And this is why this was good. I say it's a snore fest because there was so many 6-hour rounds. It is a blight on the women's game. We'll get stuck into Lexi, Charlie.
It's always
Spat
in the majors
like
as well. I don't know what it is. Like the Women's Open last year in St Andrews was chronic. You had 3 groups waiting on the one tee. Hour-long waits on tee boxes. Like,
it is mad. Like, I'm looking at this thing, like, they could have shot, like, the final series of Game of Thrones again, waiting on House Stark to get this over the line. There's something that was prepped earlier. Half the people are laughing and half the people are going, oh my Jesus, he's making dad jokes.
Yeah, but like I really liked the golf course, and I suppose the one thing that it was missing, and Leona actually brought this up in a call yesterday, there was just no one at it.
Right, yeah.
So it just takes away from the atmosphere.
You spoke to Leona yesterday at length and launched the KPMG Women's Irish Open stuff. So what did she to say about it? She's obviously extremely disappointed.
No, she wasn't overly disappointed to miss the cut. I think if you look at it in isolation, it's a 3rd straight missed cut. I think it's a 4th missed cut in 7 or 8 US Open starts, which obviously isn't good. But like she was saying, she missed 2 fairways all week, and had she not tripled the 14th and doubled the 11th, she'd have been 1 under par after 36 holes and in the tournament. Like she says, the best she's driven the ball in 2 years. She kind of hit the ball well overall in terms of tee to green, around the greens. Everything was kind of pretty okay. And she got a bad break on 14 where she plugged in the bank of a bunker. And instead of getting a free drop in the rough, she had to take a penalty drop in the bunker. So she said that kind of went against her. One of those things where you're not playing well and the breaks sort of go against you. But she was very, very bullish over heading in the right direction as well. Like she's gone back to her old Ping 430 LST driver. I thought she'd be proud of me for remembering all the equipment stuff.
That's really good
as well. And she's gone to a centre shaft putter as well.
Zero torque, is she?
Yeah, zero torque. Yeah. And but like she's very positive about where she's heading. Like she thinks, even though she missed the cut, she played very well on a very tough test, and just didn't score maybe as well as she should have.
I don't know.
So she's well,
all I hear is excuses.
Look, I don't know.
That's a list of excuses there. It scares me. You know what? It scares me when probably the best putter in living memory in the women's game, I would have her in the last decade, and she's going messing around, changing to zero torque or moving away from what she's doing, like centre shaft and doing that. Like, I don't know why. Yeah, she's obviously seeing and feeling really good things on it, but I don't know why.
Putting stats are pretty good this year, though. She's 17th, you know.
Yeah, no, and that's it. But why mess with something she is at the top of the... It's the only element of her game she's at the top table at. I'm not being cruel to Leona here, but stats across the rest of the bag aren't the best. No,
they're not, and it's reflected in her world ranking as well.
Yeah.
10th to 82nd in 18 months, 2 years. Like, it isn't an alarming slide, but she was in good spirits yesterday, and you kind of have to take her on her merits.
That's
like, you know.
good. No, I'm happy to hear that. It's just a lot of that slide is down to not performing in the major events that have the most points and the most money, and that will really peeve her off. Like, you know, she's gone through a few caddies. She has an Irish caddy on the bag now again. With Shane, did she comment on that at all about Shane?
Yeah, she said.
So Shane was on John Murphy's bag.
Yeah. She said he's learning as he goes, and like, you know, certain parts of the golf course aren't in play for him, and he's trying to get used to, you know, judging wedge shots and judging where to spin the ball, because they don't get the same spin rate with their wedges as the men do, so they're not going to be ripping wedges off greens, whereas the men might do so as well. So just sort of maybe a cultural adjustment for Shane as well. And I think dealing with the toughest golf courses like that is obviously no harm either, because that's where you sort of need your caddy to be dialed in as well. But like her major record, to be honest with you, since she had the 54-hole lead at the Women's PGA Championship in 2023 and ultimately finished 11th, that's her best finish in a major, and she's missed 4 cuts since then. So like her major performance has been on the slide, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I think we still have 4 majors left in the women's.
3. You got the Women's PGA in 2 weeks, then the Evian, which is the week after the KPMG Women's Irish Open, and then the AIG Women's Open is a couple of weeks later.
Royal Port Call, is it? Or
yeah.
I have her down for that one. I think I think she'll step up to the plate at that one.
Could have a few Irish at that one as well.
Yeah,
which would be nice.
Yeah, no, I listen, I'm all for how Stark doing what she's doing. She's 25 years of age. 3rd Swedish winner of this tournament. Comes from a long line of, they produce good women players in Sweden. She is going to be a superstar. She definitely is. She has that mentality about her, and she's got over the line nice and early in her career as well. So she will be around. It's good to have another European winning on the LPGA as well. So yeah, no, I'm all for it. It's just, it was a bit of a,
It doesn't look good on
squib for me.
It doesn't look good on television when there's not many fans there. In fairness.
It's funny that Leona mentioned that. Actually, it's mad that
she mentioned it when I asked her, just in terms of the KPMG Women's Irish Open. It's got everyone on the LET says it's got a major feel to it, and I just wanted to know is there much of a perception of it with the European players who are mainly based on the LPGA? And she just mentioned Georgia Hall plays, and she mentions how great the crowds are, and then she started kind of lacing into the crowds at the US Women's Open, saying
really
nothing compared to what you get at the KPMG. I think, in fact, she thinks that the crowds in Carton House next month will be larger than what was at Erin Hills.
It's gas, isn't it?
But just one more thing about the US Women's Open. Did you hear about Yanni Tseng? 5-time major winner, plays right-handed. 5 months ago, started putting left-handed.
Yeah.
That's mental.
Yeah, we were actually talking about this.
We were.
In Port Rush.
We were, yeah.
I was going, do you know anyone that plays right-handed? There was a group of journalists standing around the table drinking cans at 2 o'clock in the morning up in Port Rush. Yeah, that's just after coming back to me there. I've painted that out to be such a bad scene, but no, it was good. They were very upstanding. We'd Greg Allen and we had
Dennis Kerwin, Philip Reid,
Philip Quinn. It was all very high-standing members of the golf community standing around a table. Shane O'Donoghue drinking cans at 2 o'clock in the morning, talking about people that play right-handed and put left-handed. That's gas. That just came back to me. But no, you one that stuck out for me. So Julia Lopez Ramirez, felt so sorry for her. Now it took them 45 minutes nearly to play the last hole, the 72nd hole. She was most of the cause of it. Did you see her? She had an absolute disaster. I'd say she spent about £500,000 going up that hole.
She did a Ludwig Oberg at the Masters, just threw away money.
Honestly,
threw it into the lake.
From the scorer's hut, she actually hit her pitch shot to the green from the tent. Did you see that? No?
No.
She's in the tent and she's like, no, it's sitting well, I'll draw. Then she hit it, went across the green, went down this slope, took her 3 to get up the slope onto the green. It was just car crash. She's only 21 years of age, cost herself a fortune, but looks a player for the future. It was mad, but she scared the absolute crap out of Maya Stark with her approach in. I don't know, the approach that Stark had in to the last hole. She ended up 3-putting from the edge of the green because she aimed 90 degrees away from the hole to put it to the middle of the green to 2-putt down, because she had this, because if you chipped it at the flag and you went a foot beyond, you were down this, and it could have taken you 3 or 4 to get up and down, and she just took all the nerves out of it. So, but yeah, it was a bit mad. But no, on slow play, the Lexi Charlie Hull spat. What did you think of all that slow play stuff?
It's a chronic issue, and we get it at every single major.
She's obviously playing with Corda.
It sounds like Hull. It sounds like Hull was sort of directing her sort of frustrations at Lexi.
Yeah,
and
Corda was.
Lexi's not the quickest, to be fair.
No, she's. You're being very political about that.
I am. Yeah, you want to be careful what you say.
You don't have to be careful. She's a blight on the game pace wise. She's a class player.
Well, she's supposed to be retired.
She never said she was retired. She came out and clarified that as well. She said she's taking a bit of a break.
Yeah, well, she posted on Instagram about her efforts, and suppose she kind of half alluded to it. Like, she said, want people to realise our group basically wait on every single hole on the group in front. We are never out of position, warned, or on the clock. I'll be the first one to say I'm not as fast as my playing partners the 2 days, but I'm also the last person that wants to be out there for 6 hours. So before you make assumptions, make sure you get all the facts right before basing it on pictures and little clips. That's all.
Again, all I hear is excuses.
Do you reckon? And she then clarified, I never use the word retire, but I'm not having a full-time schedule.
Yeah, I'd say the pace that she wrote, like sum up the pace of the week, it took her a day and a half after missing the cut to actually script that Instagram post. So we'll take that context of how quick she issued that to how quick she actually plays. So yeah, good luck, good riddance. Yeah, I'm
sponsored by MaxFly nowadays.
Yeah, I'm a big Charlie Hull fan when it comes to this pace of play stuff. She's not calling it out.
She's no time for it.
She just doesn't give a shit and is ruthless. Yeah, they should be thrown out of field. Good luck. And I love the way, even if you look at her body language, and Corda was the same, in fairness to Nelly, they just bombed on ahead. They just they weren't hanging around to see her hit shots. They were walking up to their own balls. They were visibly just put out by how slow she was. And yeah, they might have been held up by groups in front, but this is just, yeah, you reap what you sow. So good luck. On the US Women's Open, we'll draw a line under this. One thing I loved, so Erin Hills was a real fun US Open, Women's Open venue. The next decade of sites is unbelievable though when you look at it. So next year they're in Riviera, then Inverness, then Oakmont, Pinehurst, Interlaken, Oakland Hills, LA Country Club, Chicago Golf Club, Marion, Pebble Beach, Shinnecock. That takes us up to 2036. That is an unbelievable list of golf courses that they have. Like better venues. Can you
imagine the carnage on the 10th in Riviera if it's firm and fast?
Well, it'll be different because they'll all have to lay up. They won't be going for the green.
You can move the tee up though, because they did that on the 15th. Have you seen what happened here?
Yeah.
In round 2, it was playing 348 yards, second easiest hole in the golf course. In round 3, the lads just decided, right lads, lamp this tee box up here. 260 yards, hardest hole on the golf course.
Let them have a cut at it and let them all just fall and burn.
Unbelievable.
Let's tease them with, like, here, you can get on here. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Rejected. Like, no. No, but it is. It's big things for the future, and like prize funds are growing. USGA are close. Like there was $2 million for the winner of this tournament. There's proper money tournaments.
That's proper money, yeah.
So yeah, that's a serious run of events. Right. Anything else you want to hit on before we get into roundup?
Just on the East of Ireland, David Howard, first Irish major title. Fota Island man, he shot rounds of 69, 72, 72 and 70. And in fairness to him, it was such a clutch performance coming down the stretch. Like he bogeyed 17, hit the mother and father of all drives up the 18th in the afternoon. I think he maybe had like a 6 or a 7 iron, knocked it to about 10 feet and lagged it up, quote unquote, to tap it in for a birdie, and kind of held off Robert Abernethy, who
I can never pronounce his name.
Yeah, he has to be Abernathy. He's spelling it wrong. Come on, Rob. But no, Rob shot like the most unbelievable Sunday, because it's 36 holes on the Sunday, 66, 69. I think he got into the clubhouse a couple of hours before the leaders as well. So he was sitting on 4 under for a long time. But then local man Gavin Tiernan was third, so he led the Baltray charge. Stewie Grehan, Irish amateur champion, was 7th. Like scoring was really good on day 1. Then on Saturday, Sunday, it really just tightened up. Wind got up and a lot of rounds in 73s, 74s and 75s going on.
Who'll be most disappointed walking away? I think I know the answer to this.
Stewie?
No.
Jared Dunn.
Oh,
Yeah. Open round 64, finished 12th in the end. 64, 75, 76, 78. It was weird.
He's probably played the best golf outside of Stuart Grehan over the last month and everything when you add it all up. He could be even better than him.
Yeah.
But just hasn't got the job done.
No. But like, it's interesting how they did this. That so many home I suppose, heroes, for what you want to call it, like in contention. And Golf Ireland split the tee times. So the final two groups were playing opposite nines. Make it make sense.
Yeah. I'd like that. I seen stuff, in fairness, like, you know, it was the first I seen of this was Gary, Irish Amateur Golf Info. Have to give him a shout out, because he is doing phenomenal work, in fairness to him, outside. Like, this is our job. We go to those things and we cover those things, but like, he's you're nodding your head. I know you do. So he's the first. When he started putting stuff out about it, I seen that and I was going, why are they doing that? There was obviously a reason for it. I didn't question them up. Did you follow up and question them up on it as to why they did it?
No, because Carla was getting in contact with me saying, like, what the hell is going on here? It's such a shame for, because I think there was 3 Loud members in contention as well, and
they just feel disconnected from the actual cut and thrust of
because there was a massive crowd there, and to not have them all sort of congregate in the one place to create that sort of atmosphere like an amphitheatre, it just feels like you're missing a trick almost. Because last year I know Keelan Rafferty shot himself into contention with a Sunday morning round, and then he wasn't in the final group, even though I think he might have been joint leader at the time. Yeah. So I don't know what way they're trying to work it, but I don't know, you could just create like this massive buzz if you just put everybody in the right tee times.
Yeah. The what do we have to do? This is a very broad question. I don't know, is it like, will we get too deep into it now? But what do we have to do to attract better fields to our national championships? As in international fields. And get our world ranking points, get more Wagger points for these, because we've already had the West, we've had the Irish Am, we've had the East now, and there's feck all points on up for grabs. When you look at Stuart Grehan, it just highlights it more that he's starting from scratch, and he's played in all these, and he's won one of them, and he's featured in, you know, he was there at the end of the West.
He didn't get a Wagger for getting to the semi-final of the West.
Well, I just cannot work it out. Well, I can. I know it's the strength of the field, but what can we do to make these more attractive to players to come and play them?
Well, I suppose the Irish Amateur is the big one. You should be moving that so that the college players can come back and play. Because so many of the amateur events in the world now are just skewed towards your collegiate events as well. And then there's underage events that players are getting serious ranking points for, and they're kind of not cheating the system but using it in their favour. I think dates have a lot to do with it as well, and there's so much on too, to be fair. Like it was clashing with Scottish Am, and Scottish Am is a big sort of Walker Cup counting event as well. But I just think, you need to somehow figure out a way to get ranking points into these things, whether that's changing the date to attract sort of the lads in college to come over and play. Because you see the World Amateur Golf rankings, it's American top heavy, and then it's full of the big European players who are at the top of their college teams. So if you're trying to chase, qualifications and, get into the big events, you really have to scrap hard for your ranking points here.
Yeah, no, it is. It's just something that I'd like to see. Obviously, we'd all like to see it, but it's a tough one. It's a tough one because there's such well-ran events, in spite of what you just said about the 2T starts. Like Golf Ireland do put on. We're playing on some of the best golf courses in the world, like County Louth, County Sligo. We've Royal Portrush, we've Lahinch. Sea Point hosted the Irish Am. For years that was Royal Dublin. Like there's so many positives to it that surely we can get the dates right that will attract some of these guys across. And because if we get stronger fields across then, and our guys actually do well in it, you're actually helping our guys to kick up the world rankings a lot better. So you're giving the Matt McLeans and the Stuart Grahans and all of these guys better opportunity of playing their way into some of the best European and some of the best American events based on world rankings.
Yeah, and they're so heavily skewed in the US, and from a Walker Cup point of view, it doesn't make for good reading either. From an Irish point of view, our highest ranked player in the world is 201st, Matt McLean. Then it's Keelan Rafferty, then it's Sean Keeling, then there's nobody else inside the top 300. Like Mark Cadden was into, I think, the 400s there at some stage for winning the Irish Junior Open, and because his divisor is, I think, so high or something. Like, he's gone down to 857th just off a couple of missed cuts.
But I don't understand how that kid's thing gets swagger points. That's very political now. We're getting deep into that now. That's someone's.
You just don't want children to play golf.
Livelihood. No, I do. I want my children to play golf. But yeah, no, we'll move on from that. The thing I want to just touch on, because we didn't record last week, we were up in Portrush drinking cans around the table, like we said earlier on. The Irish Senior Men's Amateur was on last week, and yeah, that was on my own home club of Naas, who the course was in tip-top shape. Andrew Morris from Royal Portrush actually came home and claimed that title. Really, really tightly fought. When you look at some of the names that are up there, like Jody Flanagan, Eddie McCormack, Joe Lyons, guys like that up there.
One of your own, Joe McWilliams.
Well, I was going to get on to poor old Joe McWilliams on that. Yeah, so he double bogeyed the 17th to lose by a shot. Like, I know Andrew Morris had finished just beforehand, so Andrew eagled 15 and birdied the last. Joe double bogeyed 17 and then missed like a 6-footer and 18 for birdie to get into a playoff. So he did devastated, I'd say, walking away. But yeah, it was Andrew Morris who stole in and claimed that title. But yeah, it was a really, really good event. And anyone who hasn't been to Naas Golf Club recently, they've undergone like £1 million transformation on both the clubhouse and redid the last 6 holes to match the other course. So just off of a seriously long-term investment, course is in tip-top shape, as good as anything you'll get out there for that price point. So they'll have open weeks and stuff coming up soon, so do check out Naas Golf Club, see what's on. Commercial plug.
County Meath Golf Club's pretty good too.
I knew you'd do something like that. But yeah, moving on from that then, anything else then we had the St. Rule.
Yeah, Kate Lanigan shared 8th place at the St. Rule Trophy in St. Andrews. She's actually leading this after the first round. She shot an opening round of 68 on the new course and then followed it up with a 76, also on the new. And then on the old course in the final round, she shot 78 for 4 under par, 7 shots off the lead. We actually had a few Irish in the top 10 halfway through this. Katie Poots eventually finished 19th. And Jessica Ross 29th. But yeah, I thought it was a good run from Kate Lanigan. Obviously has previous success there, having won the RNA Student Series at the old course. But it was interesting after 36 holes with 3 girls kind of really in contention. So they gave it a good run. Hopefully, because Kate's had a kind of a tough start to the year. She won in the Hinge Scratch Cup. So it seems like she's kicking on at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's good. You sat down yesterday talking about the KPMG Women's Irish Open with Annabelle Dimmock.
I did. What a personality. Before I even get into the 5-minute chat I had with her, she did a Q&A sort of round table thing, and these things can be fairly dull at the best times, as you well know, but she had the whole place in stitches 4 or 5 times.
She is good crack.
She's great crack, and like she was dropping F-bombs and everything, like it was hilarious stuff.
But yeah, she had massive news, which she's not going to defend.
Yeah, no, she's not going to defend. She's going to be giving birth to a child in 4 months' time. Her first child. It's going to be a girl, actually, as well, which is amazing because she's just sort of coming back from a long-term injury, then won the Irish Open. So she's hoping that'll be a comeback 2.0 whenever she does make her return to the fairways. And yeah, she's really excited about things, and she will be on site in Carton House next month at the weekend. So she's said she's open to signing as many autographs as she can, and she'll be fairly recognisable now at that stage as well, I'd say.
I love the... Here, go on, we'll actually play the quick 3 or 4 minute chat with her. We'll play that now and we'll come back.
Annabelle, thanks for joining me, and I suppose first off, congratulations. I know you've a bit of news. How do you feel about all that?
It's a lot going on in my life. You know, there's going to be a lot of change and a lot of new challenges. But yeah, I'm looking forward to taking on the new challenges and learning more about myself, I think, and pushing myself a bit more again.
Absolutely, and being motherhood, obviously there'll be another comeback coming as well. There have been some success stories of players who've had children have come back to have success too.
Yeah, I think that, it adds another dimension to you, and I'm hoping that, it adds to my mental capacity maybe on the course. You see a lot in the men's game that people go on to do maybe even better after they have children. I think there's sort of like a higher purpose, or I'm looking forward to being a role model to my little girl. So yeah, I'm looking forward to taking on the challenge. I know it's going to be super hard, but yeah, I'm ready for it.
And just reflecting back on last year's KPMG Women's Irish Open, you'd obviously come back from an injury, and those things, no one really knows how it's going to go until you're actually back playing. But to win here, like, what did that do for you in terms of the journey you've been on and just your overall confidence?
It's done a lot for, like you say, my confidence. I think going into the Irish Open, I was on the floor. I knew a documentary was coming out that it had not gone well. It was not a fairy tale ending. It was quite a sad ending. And then to have the week that I had at the Irish, it was a whirlwind for me. And it took a long time to process that, and I still go back to everything happens for a reason. I felt like I was tested, and I was putting through these tests for a reason. And the KPMG Irish Open was, honestly, it was a fairy tale week for me. And yeah, it gave me the buzz back and, the motivation back to do what I went on to do. And but yeah, things are changing a bit, but for a little bit. But then I think it's going to be sort of the same process, building myself back up physically, mentally. I'm with an extra teammate.
Like a lot of the Irish players on tour say this feels like a major, it's felt like a major since it's come back on the schedule. Like, how has it been for you compared to other events on the LET, just with the crowds and everything as well? It's fantastic.
For me, this week was better than a major. From even the small things, from the hospitality that we got at the course. The course was major condition. The crowds, we couldn't ask for better. They weren't just there, they were involved. And I mean, the Irish they're just great people to play in front of. They have passion, and they're just lovely people all round. It was an enjoyable week, not just for me, it was the camaraderie in the Players' Lounge. Everyone was saying the same thing. Some people that maybe didn't have a great week were still saying what an unbelievable event this was.
Like, you really did put the tournament on a map in many ways, and not just for your golf, your tracksuit on the Sunday got a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah, it kind of became a bit iconic. I'm pretty sure it sold out within straight away, I think, after I won. And a lot of people that I know were asking to try and get hold of it, and no one could get hold of it anywhere. But you never know. I might speak to Adidas and bring something out. You never know.
Exactly.
Some maternity range.
Absolutely, yeah. Retro, yeah.
No, but I'm lucky that for some reason I managed to pick quite an iconic outfit that day, and yeah, I mean, I looked great. I felt great. Obviously, I went on and played pretty good that day.
It was just the perfect day. And your mother's from Cork as well. Have you any childhood memories playing golf in Ireland, or even just visiting?
Visiting, I have a lot of childhood memories. I don't think they took me to the golf course. Maybe they wanted to put me off golf, with the weather. But I have a lot of amazing childhood memories coming to Cork with my mum's side of the family. So coming back to Ireland always holds a very special place in my heart. I love the people. I love the atmosphere in Ireland, and everyone knows how to have a great time here. Not that I can get involved at the minute, but everyone really knows how to enjoy themselves here.
Absolutely, yeah. And you're not playing, obviously, this year, but will you be on site during the tournament week?
100%. I will be here. I will be roaming around. I'm looking forward to seeing people that maybe I didn't have time to speak to last year. But yeah, I will be here definitely the weekend, maybe the Friday. But yeah, I'll be around and watching, cheering on whoever's going to be the 2025 Irish Open champion.
Cool. We look forward to seeing you. Thanks very much.
Right, I loved the bit. My favourite bit in that whole thing was when you brought up about the tracksuit. The most iconic thing that she won last year was in a tracksuit, and she said she's going to get on to Adidas about a maternity tracksuit and stuff like that. Very funny. But no, very good. And tickets are selling well for the KPMG Women's Irish Open. We're going to have a huge field in Carton House. Really, really good. Like we were talking about Charlie Hull earlier on. We have a piece in the magazine this week. Lauren Walsh, who's on the cover of our current magazine. In-depth interview there, coming home tournament for her. We've Georgia Hall, we've Leona.
Anna Nordqvist, Madeleine
it's
Sagström.
so good. The field is so good this year. So tickets are on sale. It's on the first week in July. Kids are off school this year and everything. So no excuses. Get down to Carton House.
No excuses. Unless your team gets into an All-Ireland semi-final.
Let's not go there. Tailteann Cup, we're on our ride. It's coming home. 3 snakes on his shirt. Yeah, that's it on that. Then last thing of note in Roundup, change the FedEx Cup rankings. FedEx Cup playoffs. They're going back to, I don't know. That's not from this year. That's next year, or is it this year?
Yeah, next year I think.
So next year they're getting rid of this stupid. He starts at -10.
Yeah, that was the aggregate thing it's called.
Aggregate scoring. They're just going back to straight. Whoever wins that week wins the playoffs and wins the FedEx Cup.
Yeah,
which I like. Anyone that gets in there deserves a chance of, if you win that week, you're FedEx Cup champion. I guarantee you
it's this year. It's this year the changes are coming in.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, for the Tour Championship.
Even better. So I just wonder how they didn't really announce how they're going to split the money.
No.
I can't see Scottie Scheffler being too happy publicly with dominating, being so many points ahead.
Yeah, streets ahead.
And losing, finishing 4th or 5th in 1 week and getting 10 million quid less than, just say, Maverick McNeely comes in 30th spot. The Mav comes in 30th spot, wins that week, wins the FedEx Cup, gets $15 million bonus.
Yeah,
can't see them be too happy.
Scheffler's on board though with the new format, like
publicly.
Publicly, saying like 72 stroke play is the best way to decide the winner of a tournament. Because you can, he's running away with the.
Because this is how they started. This is how they started this. I don't know how. Yeah, but we'll see.
I don't know though. Could you, God, if you were McIlroy, could you give? Well, I know he's done it before, but giving Scheffler maybe an 8 or 9 shot lead in his current form would be pretty unassailable.
Yeah, but I think he done him from 5 back.
6, I think.
6 back. Yeah, that's.
Scheffler was a different man back then.
2019. Yeah, he was only a nipper back then. But yeah, no, I'm all for that. The old way was an abomination. So yeah, all good. Right, we're coming up on the hour mark. We're going to let people go. We're going to get stuck in really quick. Heroes and villains, and then we'll wrap it up. So the Gary Player Villain of the Week. Who are you nominating?
I was going to nominate Lexi for slow play, and then obviously Jack Nicklaus just for kind of talking a lot. When you're just kind of on camera Barbara, for the sake of it. Barbara. Yeah. Old man yells at cloud or whatever.
It's funny. I had Lexi down. I had Jack down. I didn't know whether he was in hero or villain status. He's kind of borderline. I've Rory down for not ringing Jack. I think that's bad form. We've had Rory as villain 2 weeks ago as well for not talking to media. And then I kind of have a borderline. I don't know whether he's hero of the week or villain of the week. Ricky Fowler, Workday gave him an invitation into the memorial, and he goes and plays his way in, seals his spot in the Open. But a lot of players pissed off that he's getting an invite into a signature event, and it should just go down on rankings because there's so much at stake, which I'd actually agree with.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too, because wasn't he peeved off, himself and Speed were peeved off that didn't get invites to something earlier on in the year,
to the previous which one was it? The one that they changed the name, Wells Fargo. What was the name of it this year?
Truce. No, it was before that.
Was it? I thought it was Truce. Yeah, but they were both getting angry because they're saying, it's sponsors' invites, they can bring who they want, and basically saying, sure, we bring the juice here. You can't just go down.
Ricky Fowler doesn't bring the juice.
No, he used to, but there's some sort of a joke in there about orange and juice and stuff like that with Ricky Fowler, but we're not going to get into that. I've done enough dad jokes this week. But yeah, no, he was kind of borderline hero or villain. He done well to get in. I see he missed out on US Open qualifying. But yeah, he's played his way into the Open off the back of that. But yeah, I don't know. Who are we going to go for villain of the week then? Who's your shout? I'm flat out Lexi.
Yeah, give it to Lexi.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just to keep things even, we haven't given a woman a villain of the week in a long time. So yeah, just for gender quotas, Lexi. Right, the Paddy Harrington hero of the week.
Spiethians rejoice.
Yes.
Jordan Spieth.
Yes. I have him written down as well.
The greatest par of all time.
The par that was heard around the world.
It was. Imagine attempted murder and walking off with a 4.
This is one small hustle for man and one giant leap for mankind. Like, it was biblical. The guy, what was the guy wearing? Yellow. He nearly killed him. How your man hit the deck, it was like the ball was gone over his head and he was just like theatrics. I was full sure he was hit.
Oh, I thought he was dead.
I was full sure. And so, like, I was just like, a glove isn't going to fix this one. Like, this lad could have lost his head. But no, it was so good. It was so good to watch. But yeah, and you knew, they called it straight away. He hits this so far right, then he like pins this thing just like a foot over your man's head in the crowd, nearly kills someone into the rough, pitches the front of the green, 40-foot putt. You knew what he was going to do. In the bin. Par.
Yeah, we don't need Phil Mickelson to come back.
No, it's brilliant. We just need more Jordan Spieth. No, it was really good. I'm glad we agreed on that one. Yeah, so right, Paddy Harrington, hero of the week, Jordan Spieth. We should just give it to him and just leave it with him because he's going to do this every week. Yeah. He's going to do this every week. But no, that's a wrap for this week. Quick shout out, actually, Irish Golfer events. We are at Powers Court East this Sunday the 8th. There are still some tee times left. There's around $5,000 of prizes up for grabs. So it's a single Stableford competition split into 3 handicap categories. If you haven't played our events before, check it out on irishgolfer.ie/events. If Powers Court East doesn't float your boat, then we're in Bunclody on Sunday 22nd of June as well in a couple of weeks' time. 2 courses that are in tip-top shape. We've been down, done site visits and all already and had a look, and yeah, really good. So both timesheets are pretty much full, but there's some spots scattered throughout today. So irishgolfer.ie/events. That's a wrap. Right, we'll be back with our US Open preview probably Tuesday of next week. I'm saying maybe
Tuesday, yeah.
We'll wait for a few of the guys to do their pressers just so we know what the crack is and course setups and stuff like that. See if Rory talks and see what else happens. But from me and from Ronan, thanks for tuning in, and we will chat to you again next week. Bye.